What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. All right,
Good.
so this is Braden.
How you doing?
He's been my friend for a really long time. You know, since freshman year, we started playing soccer together. Everything we just kind of just fell together, man. I mean,
Not gay.
not gay, but yeah, I mean, we're really close. So you know, I'd say he is one of my heroes just because of all the things he's been through and stuff we talk about. You know, it's been hard on him. So yeah. So, what would you say that your strengths are? Your biggest strength, something that you like you would tell somebody like, this is my strength.
You know, that can have a wider variety. You know, you can say, oh, my biggest strength, you know, my bench press. I think it goes deeper than that, especially when you start getting into the adult life, you know. One of my biggest strengths, though, I would say is mental toughness. You know, getting in there, you know, things don't go your way, people yell at you, yada, yada, yada. You just be like, it don't matter. Put your head down, keep grinding, you know, get to where you want to go. Get to the top of the ladder, you know, climb onto the roof. That's what you want to be. You want to be up top. So just keep going.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I agree with everything there. Mental toughness is always something that you have to be strong about. So so going off of your strengths, what would you say your weakness is? Like something that you kind of hits you down hard, you know?
You know, same thing with the strengths. You know, you can be like a weakness. Oh, my legs. You know, that don't matter. So one of my biggest weaknesses, though, it's got to be, you know, not taking a situation for what it is. You know, always kind of taking things like, oh, he didn't mean that, he meant this. And, you know, sometimes you just got to be real with yourself. You know, not all the time that I am.
Yeah, of course. You know, what would you say you're most proud of? And that kind of goes off of your strengths too. But like when you're looking at it at a scale, what's something that you look at and you're like, yeah, I did that.
You know, something I'm most proud of. Not many people can say that they've done this, even if they are. You know, an electrician. I am 17 years old, and I'm already an electrician in my company. I've had many of my foremen tell me, you know, you're definitely not the worst helper I've ever had. I've had people older than you, people who are adults. You know, they are way worse than you. I'd rather have you any day of the week than some of the other helpers that I've had. So I've also been told that, you know, they know I have it in me, that I'll make a great one. So I'm just looking forward to doing that, and that's probably what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's good of you for getting out there into the field and just getting a start on everything this early. So, all right. So sorry for that delay. So yeah, what would you say your biggest fears are?
Honestly, one of my biggest fears, being alone in life. You know, if you have, you know, you can go and you can be the greatest electrician in my case in the world, but if you come home to have nothing, no family, nobody to come home to, nobody to talk to after you get off work, you know, what are you really living for? You gotta have. So I'm just always, you know, trying to make sure I keep the people around me that I love, you know, and keep people. Just people is how you get through it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, keeping your close ones like even closer sometimes is always a good plan.
Yeah.
So. All right, so sorry for the delay again and the scene change. You know, school. So got to work through some stuff. But what would you say that your biggest challenge is so far?
Being as young as I am, it's kind of, you know, hard to do some things. You know, I'm not actually supposed to be doing a lot of stuff at work. You know, I can't work on anything live, can't, you know, just being so young. And also with school, you know, I'm trying to start my life, move out, and, you know, coming to high school here, you know, really takes away from that, takes away from the money that I need to do that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. And, you know, I'll get through it and make a good life.
Heck yeah, man, I'm right there with you. So challenges are often built up to you achieving something. So going off of what you said about your challenges, what would you say your biggest accomplishment is?
biggest accomplishment, it's probably going to be so far getting a really high score on my ACT. That's something that you can put on paper. That's what I did. It was me. I got a 29 on my ACT junior year. I'm not going to take it again this year, but that's probably my greatest accomplishment that I can put on paper like that.
Yeah, man, that's great. I mean, my ACT was never good. I took it like 3 times, never good. But I overcame those challenges, and just kept pushing. So, how did those challenges from your accomplishment, getting your ACT so high, what were the challenges that helped you get that accomplishment?
So in middle school, elementary school, especially in elementary school, I had trouble turning in my work. It was 4th grade. It was the first year they did letter grades for us. And I didn't know about, turn everything in, you get a good grade. If you don't, you don't. And I didn't turn everything in, for the midterm of the first quarter. I'll never forget it. My 4th grade year, I had an F, had a couple of D's, some C's. It was rough. I think the only class that I had an A in was PE. It was really bad. But I took that, started turning stuff in, and then once I got to 8th grade, they asked me. They were like, "Do you want to take Algebra 1 this year?" I was like, I think I do. So I ended up taking 2 math classes my 8th grade year, my 8th grade math and my Algebra 1, just so I could, this year I don't have to take a math class, and this year I just take an English class. I go lift some weights, and then I go home. So, the biggest challenge is it did turn into a blessing after a while.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. All right, so we kind of got cut off on that last one, but he was talking about how he accomplished taking 2 math classes his 8th grade year. But that's great, just stepping in there in that position where you don't even have to take 2, but stepping in there, getting it done is, a good way to live your life completely. I mean, you work so hard when you're young, that way you can rest when you're old. So, we've talked a lot about like some kind of physical things. What's something that like motivates you? Like I guess you could say one of your heroes, I guess, that motivates you to, keep going.
Like a person?
Yeah.
So, someone that motivates me, definitely be my Papa. He's in his 60s now. He's always been working. He works in a factory for cars, and he's their maintenance man. And he has to get up at 2:30 in the morning all the time to go to work. And just seeing him getting out there grinding, and then I see some of the nice things that he has and what he's worked for. And, also just what he's done for me, taking me to soccer games, soccer practices, basketball, all the things, just seeing what hard work can do. Hard work can get you in life.
Yeah, I mean, getting up that early, that's got to be tough. Especially, it's hard for me getting up at 5 for work, and I only work 3 days a week right now. That's got to be insanely hard for him to do, and I know it does not get easier. So looking into your future, what are some of your goals that you have planned out for yourself?
So main goal, number one goal right now is become a licensed electrician by the time I'm 20 years old. It would be a huge step for me. Once I'm a licensed electrician, I can obviously go run my own work. They can throw me in a van and make me have my own jobs for them instead of it being I'm someone's helper on somebody's job. So, once I have my own, you obviously get a van raise. You get, a couple extra dollars on the hour. Once they throw you in a van, you're running your own work. And also, the bonuses are going to go up at the end of the year. And one more thing is you don't have to pay for gas anymore. So getting in a van, it's a huge step. It's really what you want to do. It's really what I want to do. And that is number one goal and priority right now.
Yeah, man, that sounds great. Not having to pay for gas has got to be a big one because I feel like when you're an electrician, you're always driving around to a different job site trying to make sure everything's done. And that can be, I feel like that would start adding up a lot of gas.
Oh, it definitely does. It definitely does. You know, most of the time I'm on a big job site doing new construction, but every once in a while when they throw you on that service call, you have to drive to who knows where. You know, that it does hurt the bank account a little bit having to pay for that gas. So, you know, the van raise is phenomenal.
Yeah. So, you know, kind of going off of what you just said about your goals, I want you to look past all of your work, all of your electrician stuff. What do you have planned out for your future after that?
You know, after I retire, I plan on, you know, living me in my family, you know, if I still have kids that live with me, and, you know, just making sure I stay close with God, staying a good person, staying someone who works hard when they have to. You know, it doesn't have to be at work when you work hard. You can work hard, you know, I can go to the weight room, keep myself right. I want to be healthy. You know, I want to live in, you know, my 60s and 70s the way, and I want to feel, you know, same as I did in my 40s and 50s. I still want to be healthy. I still want to be right. And, you know, I want to be able to go hunt and fish whenever I want to. I want to be able to go golf, swing the golf club whenever I feel like I want to go do it. I want to be financially stable. I want to have, you know, enough money to be able to do what I want when I want. You know, I just plan on living a good life and, you know, helping the grandkids out, helping the kids out, and just being there for everybody.
Well, I appreciate your time and I appreciate you answering my questions.
Of course, sir.
I hope you have a good day.
Thank you.
And be safe.
Yep.